The San Antonio Spurs, after dropping games 1 and 2 at home in the NBA Finals, were able to go on the road and win Game 3 last night in New York. This man knows a thing or two about the San Antonio Spurs. He won an NBA title with San Antonio in 2005. Somehow, all of the teams that he played for, he never played for the New York Knicks. I'm actually surprised by that. He is Terp's legend. You know him from Monumental. Our guy, Mr. Tony Massenburg, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Tony, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you as always, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Oh, no problem, man. I didn't have enough time. I played 15 years, but I didn't have enough time to get to the Knicks.
Now, if you had played 16, I think you would have definitely. You might have gotten all of them.
Last year in there, I might have
gotten all of them. Tony, interesting from last night after the game. Mike Brown goes into the press, conference and rails about the officiating and the 24-8 disparity in the second half and free throws. And to me, watching the game, it seemed just as physical as the other games were. Like, it just seems like this has been an incredibly physical series. But I never looked at a call and said, yeah, I don't think that was a foul. In fact, in watching the Knicks, and the fact that they seem to be bear-hugging Wemby on every play, I might argue they're not even calling all of the fouls. What did you make? Did it warrant how much Mike Brown was talking about it after the game, or is he just venting because his team lost?
It's all strategy. Let's take just to consideration. First of all, full disclosure. From my heart, you know that I'm pulling from the Spurs, right?
Right. Yeah.
I give that to you and all the fans,
sure.
Right? For my heart. But I give you my pure basketball analysis, unbiased, okay? That's what I do. So I'm going to give that to you now. I'm looking at this series. Mike Brown complaining about the fouls last night was, to me, just that was all about strategy and trying to lessen the physicality on his guy, Jalen Brunson. And let me highlight this, what I'm talking about. When you look at what Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson in particular have been able to do to Wemby throughout the playoffs, okay? And as a guy who's a little Spurs biased, I have no problem with what New York has done to Wemby, okay? That is old school basketball. That's the way we played in the 90s and in 2000s.
No doubt.
And so I actually embrace that. What I saw last night when I watched Mike Brown complain about the physicality, was I saw him trying to make a case to the referees to make more calls on guys like Castle, Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, Champagnie, because these guys are using their size on Jalen Brunson. They're being physical with it. Now, Jalen Brunson is a very physical guard, despite the fact that he's only 6 feet tall. He initiates a lot of the contact. So that, to me, makes it even more ridiculous for Mike Brown to be complaining about fouls when this is playoff basketball, and the Knicks have been as physical, if not more physical, with the Spurs than the Spurs have been with them. The difference yesterday was that the physicality, I think, affected Jalen Brunson over the course of the game. And even though he still played well, it was hard for him to get his shots off. And what Mike Brown understands is that as this series continues to go on, that will start to affect the smaller man over the course of the series. So he wants to highlight that physicality right now in hopes of getting the referees to get these defenders to lighten up just a little bit on Jalen Brunson. But I don't think that should happen. I think the series should continue with the physicality that we're seeing on both sides of the basketball.
Interestingly enough, as I watch, look, Victor Wembanyama, when we call him an alien, like we know he's unlike any other human that we've ever seen play this game. It's weird because as I watch him in this series uniquely, I have found myself saying it feels like he's settling too much. It feels like he's, the ball comes to him 8 seconds, and you just say, dude, you're not like everybody else. Go to the basket. And I say that knowing, obviously, you don't want him getting hurt. You don't want him committing more fouls. The Spurs, when he's off the floor, are a dramatically different team. But am I crazy in that, like, I still feel like he could assert himself more than we have seen him do, certainly in these finals, maybe throughout the playoffs?
I would like to see him, and I have been saying this, and I was screaming it in particular in the first two games. I would like to see him assert himself more closer to the basket.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to just camp out in the dunker spot or just hang around the rim and point, to the sky and tell his teammates to just throw it up. I know that's not going to work when guys are literally taking your legs out from under you, the way we've seen Karl Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, other guys just be physical with Wemby. Like, it's playoff basketball, man. That's what it is. So to a certain degree, 7'5", 230 some pounds with a slim frame, I can see him veering away from some of the contact as a guy who played that style of basketball, meaning I was a dude who was, I enjoyed physicality, and I could tell when some guys didn't really want it because they would just drift further and further away from the paint. I understand why Victor's doing it to a certain degree. What I would say to him is that pick your spots. Don't let them take the paint away from you. Pick your spots. You don't have to make a living in the paint, but you got to admit you're so much more effective when you get to the basket and you put so much pressure on the defense to defend you, to where you risk putting them in foul trouble, or you get to the line, or you're able to get the shot that you want. Either which way, you put a lot more pressure on them when he utilizes that 7'5" frame to get downhill. And so when he mixes it up, a little bit of inside, a little bit of outside, that's the best version that I think we can get of Wemby, and I think that's the most difficult version for the Knicks to defend.
He is Tony Massenburg. He is with us here on GCR. Of course, Game 4 coming up on Wednesday night in the NBA Finals, still in New York, and the Knicks still having a 2-1 lead in the series. Dylan Harper, like in Game 1, everybody kept saying, why isn't Dylan Harper on the floor at the end of the game? He's your guy right now. Like, some would argue he's your number 2 option. And it almost felt like, in a way, there was an overcorrection, right? Like, he took 18 shots last night. Have they found the sweet spot yet between De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper, the Spurs, of who should be the next most assertive guy behind Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, I think Dylan Harper has really stepped up in that role and clearly has a bright future and is not afraid of the moment. That's what's impressive, the fact that he's such a young player and not afraid of the moment and not afraid to take the big shot. And to me, along with Vassell, looks like he really wants that smoke. Like, Castle and these guys, all of these guys to me look like they're kind of vying for that number 2 spot to be Victor's kind of number 2 guy. But what it is that when you really look at it, it's a guy, it's a combination of all of these guys. There's not a clear-cut number 2. There's not a clear-cut Robin in San Antonio to Victor's Batman. It should be De'Aaron Fox based off the experience, but because he's coming off of injury and seemingly not shooting the ball well, looking like he's shaking off some rust. Last night, I thought he looked the best he's looked all series because he seemed to have his burst and his quickness. And if he can just get in the paint, that changes everything for San Antonio. If he knocks down a couple of threes, that's gravy. But if he has the full complement of his physical skill set, meaning his speed and his athleticism to beat people off the dribble and create space and create plays in the paint for Wemby and others, that will help the Spurs get to the next level as well. So Harper is the guy that you need to knock down jump shots when Fox is not making shots. Castle and Vassell are guys that really are really effective in the mid-range and can knock down the threes. So Champagne's been a knockdown shooter so far and a great defender. But to me, the combination of the role players, that is the real Robin to Wemby, because when these guys play well, and if Wemby is just being himself, the San Antonio Spurs are really hard for anybody to beat.
There was a take that was offered. I get that Draymond is still an active player. He's not quite in the media, although I guess over the years he said he is the new media, right? But Draymond, before the game last night on Inside the NBA, said something that everybody was like, what are you talking? He said he thought there was more pressure on the Knicks than there was on the Spurs going into last night's game, which, of course,
I agree.
And I wanted to get there because, to me, Tony, it sounded crazy. Obviously, it's a 2-0. You know, what the heck are you talking about? You're up 2-0. You won 2 games on the road. But I don't know. Watching that scene last night, I kind of did feel what he was saying a little bit, which is like you're carrying a weight that is almost indescribable in basketball. It's New York. It's the Garden. It's 50-plus years. And here you are 2 games away, a chance to do it in the Garden. Did you sense that they were feeling any of that?
So this is what I've been saying about this series. I said that, number one, I did not think that San Antonio would drop 2 games in San Antonio. So let's start there.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. I didn't see that coming. But what I did see coming after they lost that second game, I said, okay, New York is already celebrating like, you know, the third game is a foregone conclusion. And so all they got to do is win 1 game, and it's like there's a parade. That's not the way it works. And so when you're New York and you think about the fact that this young San Antonio team won a Game 7 in OKC, they understand that, like, okay, they know what the pressure is. I'm sorry, they won the Game 7. They know what it is to be in a pressure situation. They did that against the defending champions. So if you're San Antonio, you're young, you're learning on the fly. But if you're New York, you're experienced, you know what's waiting for you in New York. You feel the pressure. And I said, if San Antonio is in this game, in Game 3, if they are in this game or ahead with 3 to 4 minutes to go, New York will start to feel that pressure. I said that about Game 3. And I think that's what we saw as New York really started to struggle to make shots in the fourth quarter, especially going down the stretch. The pressure was high last night. I anticipate it will be even higher, and I'm saying the same formula. If San Antonio is in this game, going down that last home stretch, that last 3 minutes of the basketball game, New York will feel immense pressure. And San Antonio, I believe, if they walk out again with another victory in New York, I believe they will win this series. And I said that if San Antonio could win 1 game, that once those young guys got the taste of, okay, maybe we really can do this, that confidence will start to build. They have a player, just like you described, that we have never seen, which to me, I said it at the beginning of the season, gives them a chance. Despite their youth, you've got a freak of nature that gives you a chance because there's no answer for him. If you put the right pieces around him, you don't have to wait 2 to 3 more years for them to be in championship contention. We're seeing it play out right now. We'll see how San Antonio handles the pressure in New York, but I'm still saying, and I said it before Game 3, the pressure is on the Knicks. And if they thought it was pressure in Game 3, wait until tomorrow night.
They did still score 42 points in the second quarter last night. What did they do so well in quarter number 2 that maybe concerns you a little bit, perhaps, that they could replicate going into game number 4?
For the Knicks, it's all about shooting. When OG Anunoby is consistently making threes,
and he was.
When you have Josh Hart knocking down a couple of threes before Jalen Brunson knocks down a couple of threes, that's concerning. And again, the Knicks formula for winning is similar to San Antonio. When the Knicks get contributions from Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, those guys, when the role players contribute significantly, and Jalen Brunson is just Jalen Brunson, the New York Knicks are tough, and that's why they hadn't lost a game in so long. But again, when I look at the San Antonio Spurs from a defensive standpoint, this is where they can beat the Knicks. They can't necessarily outscore the Knicks because I don't think they necessarily have better scorers, but the San Antonio Spurs do have the Defensive Player of the Year, and they have great wing defenders. And for me, if San Antonio is going to win this series, it's going to be about them stopping the Knicks and not about them so much outscoring the Knicks. It's their defense and Wemby's presence that'll make the difference.
That makes all the sense in the world. Tony, all the conversations I've had with you, I don't know if I've ever told you I have this deep-seated sort of hate for the Spurs, but it's dissipated. I'll tell you about it a little bit. In 2006, so right after you, I moved to Phoenix and took a job out there, and it was the D'Antoni, Nash, Stoudemire, Marion, Sons. And I just fell in love. Like, that place was hopping every night. It was just, and Mike D'Antoni is such a great dude and was so giving of his time to everyone. The moment I showed up, he gave me his cell phone number, said, call me any day. I'll come on the show whenever you want. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And I fell in love. And Robert Horry, cheap shot Bob, I've never gotten over it, right? And Pop was so surly that I love the fact that the Spurs always wore the evil empire colors, right? Like, I just thought that's who the Spurs are. You embrace it. You're the evil empire. And I get it. Wemby's different, and he's got this personality. But when everybody's been praising the Fiesta aesthetic of the Spurs and the colors, I found myself saying, no, this is the Spurs we're talking about. The Spurs should look like the evil empire. Which aesthetic do you prefer? Do you like the colorful look, or do you prefer, no, we're the Spurs, we should be wearing black, silver, that should be the color scheme. Everybody comes in here knowing what they're going up against.
You know what, man? I've always been a fan of black. Yeah. I mean, I had black cars for the longest time. I finally started changing it up a few years ago. But I love the black unis. I love the silver. The black and silver is like my favorite Spurs uniform. I like the colors because that reminds me of my rookie season and like how happy I was to put those colors on, man, for the first time wearing my first NBA uniform. So I have a nostalgia factor for the colors. But if you ask me, man, I love the black. Our white unis were cool, but I love our black unis. We wear the black with the black sneakers, black socks. Like, it was, like, that was my thing, man.
Intimidating.
I love that.
And by the way, I just want to make it clear, as I've told everybody before, I completely flipped the script on Pop. Pop is a tremendous human being. I couldn't have more respect for him. My God, right? Like, but there'll always be that piece of me that'll never be over it, Tony. That's the way it works.
I'll say this to you as a player and during that time. That was, don't let players trick you into thinking that there are not certain teams that they wouldn't like to play for. At that time, when I saw what Steve Nash was doing with those guys, Sean Marion, all those guys, and the style of ball that D'Antoni was playing, I was like, man,
get me there, right? Get me there.
There was an opening for me in Phoenix. I would love to play there. Like, that is my style of game right there. So
I was drunk.
I would have loved to have played, just a year with Steve Nash, just being the point guard that he was, and in D'Antoni's system, man, where you can just run and gun. I mean, I would have loved playing 5. I played 4 and 5 my whole career, and I was guarding, 7-footers for the most part. But to play on a wide open system like that, where I would have got to shoot jump shots more and just get up and down and be the recipient of lobs, man, that was a lot of fun to watch those guys as a former player. We loved watching Phoenix at that time.
I was drunk on it, man. It was intoxicating how much fun it was. All right. Griffin is our resident Wizards fan on the show, and so he, I think, wants to ask you about the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, I want to Bonsa. You can tell me if there's somebody else that if you want somebody else. But also, I want to ask, am I allowed to be excited again, about Wizards basketball? Because I'm starting to feel that way, even though they haven't even made a pick yet. But I'm starting to feel that way, and I felt like I haven't been excited about the Wizards since John Wall.
Well, first of all, not only should you be excited, it's required. It is mandatory that you be excited this year in particular, because when you look at the position that the Washington Wizards are in with the number 1 pick, and then you're talking about one of the better drafts that we have seen in years, and the talent level at the top 3, top 4 positions. Guys that seemingly, 2-3 guys, could be the first pick, when you look at this draft. And so the Wizards obviously have a lot of options. If you look at the way they have drafted the last 2 years and how those draft picks have panned out and how they fit into what the team is building, it's been a seamless blend, and they have found diamonds in the rough when you look at guys like Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington and Will Raleigh and these guys. And so, you know, you're talking about 14th pick and 24th pick here, and you know, these guys have panned out. Now you're sitting at number 1. So I have the utmost confidence that the Wizards will make the right pick. And so when that happens, along with, you know, a Trae Young already here and an AD, you know, a Sarr who looks to me to be the best rookie in his class, second pick, to me should have been the first pick in the draft. The Wizards have done an excellent job drafting. Their executives have done an excellent job assembling these pieces. So I am very confident that the right pick will be made for this team, and that Wizards fans moving forward for the foreseeable future have reason to be excited.
I mean, DeBonsa was already hanging out with Francis Tiafoe in Paris. Like, come on, man. Like, that's got to be a done deal, right? Like, that's got to be the way that it works.
Hey, listen, I'm not privy to that information. The only thing that I can tell you for sure is that when I look at the history over the last couple of years with the Wizards brass, they have gotten it right from the second pick down to the 24th pick. And so when you look at these guys, I have no question in my mind they're going to make the right move. And so Wizards fans, don't worry about that. Just bring the noise next season, because things are going to be a lot different around here next year.
Tony, anything we can plug for you, my friends?
Nope, just the usual. Just continue to watch us on Monumental Sports. You can follow me on my Instagram, Tony Massenburg, or at Twitter, at Tony Massenburg, and just continue to support. And, again, be excited for next year. I'm looking for really, really good things from this team.
Tony Massenburg, always appreciate you, brother. Thank you for hopping on with us. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Tony Massenburg.